Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so glad you could join me as we explore something truly profound, a topic that really gets to the very heart of hope itself, the fellowship of the mystery. It's great to have you back for part 2 of our Everlasting Gospel Study series. Now, if you're just jumping in and missed part 1, don't worry about it. You won't be lost at all. You can always check it out later. So, just to quickly bring everyone up to speed, in our last conversation, we really centered on one foundational truth. For love to be real, it can't be forced. It absolutely requires the freedom of choice. And we saw that God, knowing the incredible risk involved, gave that freedom to all his creatures. It was and is the only path to a universe built on genuine love instead of just robotic obedience. And that idea, that risk, it leads us to a massive, mind-bending question that's going to guide us today. See, we tend to think of the plan of salvation as Plan B, right? A reaction to Adam and Eve's fall. But what if it isn't? What if the plan to rescue us was in place long before we ever even needed to be rescued? All right, let's dive into that. Here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with a look at a promise before time. Then we'll explore something called the Counsel of Peace. From there, we'll unpack a deeply hidden mystery. And finally, we'll see how that mystery reveals two incredible roles, the office of the Redeemer and the hope of the elect. So let's start with this. This is a game changer of an idea. The plan of redemption wasn't a reaction. It was a proactive, preemptive plan of love, a promise made before time as we understand it ever even began. I want you to just try and wrap your head around this. Go back in your mind before anything, before stars, before planets, before the universe itself was spoken into existence. In that timeless eternity, the Father and the Son came together in a divine council. This wasn't some kind of emergency meeting. It was a calm, deliberate, premeditated conference born out of infinite love. So what was on the agenda at this eternal meeting? Well, they were looking ahead. Knowing that genuine free will meant rebellion was a real possibility, they established a covenant, a binding, unbreakable promise to deal with every single consequence of sin should it ever enter the picture. You see, they had the solution ready before the problem ever existed. This is not damage control. This is divine foresight. And this incredible proactive agreement, it actually has a name. It's a beautiful name that tells us everything we need to know about its purpose, the Counsel of Peace. We find this name tucked away in the book of Zechariah. The prophet, speaking about the Messiah who would be both priest and king, says this, "And the counsel of peace shall be between them both." This is a direct reference to that eternal agreement, that pact made between the Father and the Son in eternity past. So when you hear that phrase, Counsel of Peace, this is what it's all about. It was the formal agreement to restore peace between a holy God and humanity, just in case that peace was ever shattered by sin. It was the ultimate safety net, making sure that love would, without a doubt, have the final say. Now here's where things get really fascinating. For ages and ages, this plan, this Counsel of Peace, was kept a secret. It was a deeply hidden mystery. Not a puzzle to be solved, but a glorious truth just waiting for the perfect moment to be revealed to the entire universe. You know, when we hear the word mystery, our minds jump to a crime novel or an unsolved case, right? But that's not what the Bible means here, not at all. The mystery of God isn't about creating confusion. It's about a grand revelation. It's a breathtaking truth about the sheer depth of God's love that was intentionally veiled, known only to the Father and the Son until the time was just right for the curtain to be pulled back. And the Apostle Paul talks about this very thing. He describes his whole mission as being to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery. And then he tells us where this mystery was, which from the beginning of the world had been hid in God. It was a sacred secret, held safely in the heart of God, waiting for the moment it would spring into action. So what were the details of this hidden plan? Well, this Counsel of Peace established very specific roles, or what we can call offices. And the first one, the absolute centerpiece of the entire plan, is the office of the Redeemer. Back in that eternal council, the Son voluntarily stepped forward and pledged to take on this role. He agreed to become humanity's substitute and our surety. Now think about what those words mean. A substitute takes your place. A surety pays your debt. The Son pledged to stand in our place to face death, and he pledged to pay the full price for sin that we could never afford. This was not a role forced upon him. It was a pledge of love. And you can just hear the commitment in Christ's own words. This is basically his mission statement, the job description for his office. His purpose, agreed upon with the Father, is that of every single person the Father gives him, he will lose nothing, not a single one. He is our divine guardian, the one who guarantees our ultimate safety, all because of that ancient, loving pledge. Okay, so that's Christ's incredible role, but this is a fellowship, remember? So that leads to the most personal question of all. Where do we fit in? This is where we find the hope of the elect, our amazing place in this divine plan. Now let's be super clear about this term elect. It can be a bit of a loaded word. This isn't some exclusive, pre-selected club with a limited guest list. The office of the elect is a destiny. It's an open invitation offered to every single human being. And how do you join? By your own free choice. It's for anyone and everyone who chooses to accept the Redeemer's sacrifice and enter into that covenant of peace with him. This can seem tricky, but let's look at the wording really closely. It says God has chosen us in him, in Christ, before the world began. The choice that was made in eternity was the plan itself. Christ was the chosen way, so anyone who chooses to be in him becomes part of that plan. And what was the plan for? What were we predestined for? Unto the adoption of children. The destiny offered to all is to be welcomed back into the family of God. And this verse clarifies it even more. God's predestination isn't about picking winners and losers ahead of time. It's about predetermining the outcome for anyone who chooses to get on board. And what is that final destination? To be conformed to the image of his Son. The destiny he has planned for us is one of total character transformation, of becoming more and more like Jesus. So let's just boil it down side by side. It's really simple. You have the office of the Redeemer. That's Christ's part, his work for us. He laid down his life. That is finished. It is complete. Then you have the office of the elect. That's our part, our response to his work. Our job is to accept that incredible gift through faith and then, empowered by him, to live a life of faithfulness. It's a divine partnership. It's a fellowship. And this powerful promise from Ellen White just highlights the ongoing nature of our choice. It's all about continuing in faithfulness. See, accepting this gift isn't a one-and-done moment. It's a daily walk. And the promise for those who stay steadfast is just breathtaking. Christ himself will stand before the Father and the angels and confess our names. Can you even imagine that? He won't erase our names. He will champion them. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Why does this ancient mystery matter to you and me today? It's because your salvation, my salvation, was never an afterthought. It wasn't a panicked rescue mission thrown together at the last minute. It is an eternal promise, born from the counsel of peace before the world ever began. It is an invitation into a fellowship with God himself, made possible because this incredible mystery has now been revealed. But understanding this proactive plan of love, well, it naturally leads to some big questions, doesn't it? If this rescue plan was always in place, then what's the point of the law? Why was it even given? And what then is the true meaning of sin? I really hope you'll join us for part 3 as we dig into those very questions. It's a journey you will not want to miss.